Over the last couple of videos, we've been tackling this little Fiat 126. Now, this little Fiat is in the workshop because it needs air suspension, and the Fiat 126 doesn't have any aftermarket support for air suspension, and it turns out it's a little bit of a nightmare. What you need to do is pretty much cut it all out, start again, and then you're left with a bunch of massive big holes in your engine bay. Engine bay? Front engine, bonnet, hinge area. Anyway. The next plan of action is to start making those holes not be massive holes anymore. So we're going to be trying to tackle the front end of this car and filling in all the gaps and integrating all of the parts that we've designed throughout the last couple of videos. And in this video, you're going to find out that old cars are not as good as they seem. Yeah, we found some more rust. Anyway, let's crack on. So, now we've got massive gaping holes in the front, we have to tub them in. Now I've looked at these tubs for quite some time and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it, and the best way to do it is to basically cut it all out and start again. I have already removed the bumper support which goes on the back of these two holes here. There's another one on this side. They're literally loosely in there with a bit of spot weld to hold them in. Basically stop the front panel completely caving in if you touched a paper bag. What we're going to do is basically cut all of this area here out, because it's already rotten, and I think the overall image is going to look a lot nicer because the original panels are all overlapped and all crinkly, and yeah, they're just not very nice. And I think the finished result will look a lot better once the tub goes all the way down to this seam at the bottom here. First point of action, make some templates. So use this little plastic little move aroundy thingy that collects all the little contours and shapes of the panels around you. Drew that onto a bit of card, and then I used a little 17-inch wheel that was laying around the workshop to get the radius of what I wanted the wheel arch to be. And then once I got that wheel arch radius complete, I then trimmed it out of cardboard. Once I trimmed it out of cardboard, tested it fitted, and then put it onto the metal, and we can basically make a full arch with the templates that we have. Now this little bit of cardboard might look a bit weird, but basically this cutout here is the offcut of this bit of paper. So this radius is then going to follow the exact same radius if I put it there. So I'm going to draw around the outside and then draw around the inside of this template, and we're going to have a big radius. Now, all of this section down here is not going to be used. So I'm probably just going to cut it all the way across to here, and we're basically going to have the back end of the tub just in here, and then we're going to end up cutting the middle out. But to make it look legit and make the radius follow, I'm gonna have to do the whole big plate and then cut the center out and make it all look normal. Do you get what I'm putting down here? So this bit of section here, nice, same radius here. Strut tile will go in the middle, and we'll just weld this little corner bit at the back so it all looks like it's one piece. Make sense? Makes sense. And then you get something like this, which doesn't actually fit, and that's because it can't go all the way in. Now, looking at this now, we're literally going to have the smallest little piece of metal, of tub, so to speak, that's going to sit through that little plate there, because the strut tower, remember, sits here. So we're only going to have so much of this tub actually going to be on show, but it is going to make the look like it's continuing on, which it will do. So yeah, need to trim that edge there, come down here a little bit. It's going to be on, off, on, off, on, off until that literally slips into position. So I'm going to do that. Now, I don't know if this is just me, but when I do these sorts of jobs, I end up basically making it out of metal, and then it's absolutely nowhere near. So I end up shaving off a couple of millimeter off the panel here and there for about an hour, and then it still doesn't fit. So then you do like another 20 odd minutes, and it finally gets close, and you do another 20 minutes. And in this clip, it's about 20 seconds long, so you'll think that was easy. But this little fine precision tuning takes forever. Then after some time, you get a tub that fits around every single little tiny contour, which is a little tricky to get right, but you know, patience takes time. Like I said, the tub is going to get cut down here and there, so we're going to have a little tiny sliver here, but that doesn't matter because the strut comes to here, and we need this to come all the way along. So yeah, it's good that we've got that bit there, otherwise it would look like it just disappears into no man's land. So from here, technically, I could just make another one for here, right? For this side, just make a complete direct template for this side. However, the issue is, you probably be able to notice here, there is a little bit of an offset for where the battery once was. I think that needs to go. And we need to put basically this there, and that battery can sit in the middle somewhere. So, rip the battery tray out. And while I was doing that, it was brought to my attention that there was a little fact about the 126 that I didn't know before, and now I know I will never not see it. Now, the Fiat 126 has a little pressing in the front panel which allows for clearance around the battery. And once you see it, you will never not see it. So, yeah, I thought I'd pass that little fact on to you guys as well. So, this is where working on old cars gets really, really annoying. As you see, I just took the grinder to get it back to bare metal and get us a clean area to start refabricating the front of this front end bulkhead boot floor thingy. Anyway, it's had some terrible repairs in there. Terrible repairs.
That's really bad.
It's really bad, and that's exactly where I need to weld the tub. Now, obviously need to fix this bit right here. It's already going rusty underneath it as well. So yeah, it's kind of again a bonus that we're cutting this out and making it, you know, symmetrical. But yeah, that repair down there, that is kind of annoying. As you can see, it's like proper surface rust underneath, so it was never really treated properly, and it's been rusting underneath all of this lovely yellow paint. So I'm gonna have to try and tidy that up. I mean, it doesn't look rotten. Maybe we can just tidy it up and make it look a bit nicer and not overlap. Cut a slit down it and weld it back up and grind it back together, and hopefully it's okay. But for now, we need to remove this piece right here and make a new panel that's gonna sort of mimic that side. So yeah, let's give that a go. So what I started to do here was remove the spot welds and try remove that battery tray panel out as one piece. And then I realised that it's just really rotten underneath there, so I ended up just cutting it all out and just forgetting about the spot welds altogether. I just wanted to try and cut as little material out as possible, but it was rotten underneath, so I had to cut it all out. And yeah, just ended up prepping the area, cleaning the back side of the panel as well. There's a lot of underseal and everything like that, and usually if you're welding and there's underseal on the back side, it's just gonna weld not very nice. So yeah, always try to clean the panel behind as well as where you're welding, because it will give a better finished result. So panel cut out, we now need to make this shape there. Basically there is a little bit of a contour here that we've got to basically hammer and dolly into making it match the same shape. There is actually a fold just here, so it's not just straight down. There is a fold just here, right where that little crease starts, but it's going to be a little bit of a shaping with a hammer and dolly to make these rounded curved edges to fit properly. But yeah, that'll all get done. The problem I'm having now is that I'm looking in here, right, and where we've cut this out here, you've got this little divot which is really short, right, and it's not in line with the big pressing above it. If you go to this side, that pressing above all the way down, and this one's directly underneath, and it's longer than that one. So now I'm sat here looking at it going, well, that's not right. And we've also got to try and incorporate these. Now I think the easiest thing to do is to weld these up and smooth them off so they're the same shape all the way along, so that doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm gonna make this panel anyway, regardless. All we need to do now, get a bit of card in there, make a template, and we're off. Just recently, I'm not quite sure why, but there's been quite a few people like DMing me privately saying like, can I come to the workshop and watch you do some work and give you a hand and learn how to do this sort of stuff? And I thought about it and I thought, well, I'm not really the guy to probably teach you. There's so much that I still yet do not know. There's always many other people out there that could do a lot better job, but I guess what you see from me is just years of me learning from my mistakes and stuff that I've probably ruined in the past, probably benefits on the newer projects that I do today. So yeah, all of the stuff that you see is just pretty much self-taught and learning as I go and ruining stuff in the process. But yeah, there's a lot of other people that are better at this, so go learn from them. I'll put a link in the description of a guy called Make It Custom. He's very good at welding and fabrication, so check him out. Right, a little panel made there. Now, it needs a bit of bending to go into shape. You just see me hitting the hammer
where that curve is there basically, and just trying to shape that edge over the top of it while the pressings are still there, so I don't have to do it off the car. I can get a basic shape of where it needs to be. And then it just needs a bit of tweaking as it welds in, basically. Push it in, weld it in there. I'm going to trim the excess off of this edge here, just bring it back a little bit, and then just a smidgen off all the edges, just to bring it a little bit smaller around these top edges, and then yeah, start getting to welding it in. That's how much we're cutting out. Go a bit further out. Lovely. Oh, we need to get down there as well. Right, all tacked in. Was pretty awkward to get to, you know, the bottom edge down here. What I can do is actually weld the bottom edge from the inside. So I'm going to do that when it's on the ramp. So I'm going to basically weld all the way down the fronts and up the top here. And that bottom edge I'll do on the ramp because it's a nightmare to get the torch down there. It's a stupid angle and I can get to it underneath, and I'm not laying on the floor today. So yeah, I'm going to do this bit here and get that welded in and cleaned up. So, one panel welded in. I started grinding the welds over there, and then I realised the bit over there that I've welded is probably going to get cut out. So there's no point in me addressing it any more than it is already. So it's welded together, it's holding itself together, and yeah, now I can actually start making the tub again. Slight detour, but we can carry on now. You'll see if you put this tub here on this side, where it's going to be around there. All that behind it is going to get cut out. So yeah, this plane here is basically following this plane here. So yeah, that on the inside is all going to get cut out. And you can see here, we've got to now make this panel fit this one. Obviously that is a slightly different shape to our tub there. We have a little cut out there for that pressing there. So basically, make this panel again, but just without the cutout and whatnot. So yeah, let's crack on and make some stuff. Now, if we don't breathe, we now have not a matching pair, but a matching pair that fits the same both sides. Now, this was pretty tricky because it's not a direct comparison from this side to that side, as you know, because of the pressings in the panel. But then I had to make sure the height of the curvature is at the same height. So I'll make sure I'm trimming this area at the correct orientation, because if I trim a bit there and trim a bit there, and then can move the orientation above, lower, and yeah, you have to just double check that we're at the same height. So you'll be able to see, well, you won't be able to see, but they're basically at the same time. At the same time, same height. Yeah, and the top of the wheel well should be about here, which is just above where our tyre is going to sit, because our tyre comes to about here. The tub's going to be about here. So we're looking good on that one. So the next point of action now is to come this way. Now this bit is going to get tricky. Mainly because we've got to get the panel from here to here, but then I have to blend it in with this seam, so this tub will come up in this seam, so it'll be in line with this panel here. So I need to blend that in, come this way, and it also needs to follow the contour of this front panel down here. Now, the shape of it basically needs to follow this line here, which is rotten. So first point of action is to cut all that rotten mess out and see what we're dealing with. So you have something like this. So this front panel here, all right, our tub is going to button onto this clean edge here, which I'm glad is really clean, because that's where we need to weld to. What isn't really clean is the surface rust in here. And if you look here, there is a horrible patch just here, and I'm feeling like this needs repairing around here, all the way around, before I really get stuck into welding the tub into this edge. I mean, the tub itself needs to follow this line here, basically. So the tub is going to button off this bottom edge there, and then that's going to follow that line, because that then meets the inner panel up here. So we need to follow that line in a nice curvature, which is fine, because that makes it a lot clearer now when you can do it from the inside of the arch. You can make a template and whatnot. But I need to see and address what's under here and how far does that filler go. Because as you can see, it's quite thick and quite a bad repair. And before I weld it all up, I'm gonna need to dig that out, because that repair starts about here and ends up down there. So yeah, I need to dig that out. That's not gonna do that. There's a panel welded on here, overlapping each other, and it's rusting behind it. And I can see that from the inside. So this area now needs repairing.
Since I started posting videos on this car, I've had someone message me about what it actually looked like in a previous life, and it had a little trailer on it, and it was used at a race course or something for advertisement. I wonder if they knew about this dodgy repair on this lower corner. I'd love to know.
Right then, this is what happens when you're trying to make a video and things get worse. So, you just saw this has had some quite awful repairs, and you know, those little pinholes carry on up to about here. So we need to replace this whole section here, at least, because our tub, which is going to come obviously this way, needs to sit along that edge, and then it needs to tuck behind where the rim edge would have been. Went around to look to see if there's any more rot hiding beneath the filler, and there's a little hole there, which we sort of knew about. A little tiny pinhole there, and then so the horrible outer patch here, and you can see some pinholing there, covered in filler. And then the same story around this side. It's had a repair of some sort, and it needs a couple of little repairs down here. But we already knew that it was rotten around this area anyway. But this side's a lot better than the other side, especially all the way down here. There's a tiny pinhole there, but we can sort all those out. Apart from this, I don't understand what happened here, but you know, that's going to need addressing. But annoyingly, we're going to have to order a panel for this side before we can fully weld it in. But I can actually start on making the tub itself. It's Wednesday evening right now. This video is probably going to go out Friday evening. And well, this video has taken a while to make, and it doesn't seem like a lot of progress in the video, but all the little tiny little repairs have been done. So yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit of cardboard now, brave the cold, and start trying to make a template for the tub so we can get it prepped. Gotta make this tub over my knee, bend it into shape. I'll get there. Right, so we have the tub basically rolled. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of tweaking to do. Now, the way you make a tub, or where I've made a tub, is you basically, it's going to be hard to do with one hand, but now the way you weld these together is you basically want to weld this upright to this curve. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but the best way to do it is to either weld on that little edge there all the way along and then clean up the weld, or you weld from the inside but make sure that those panels are the perfect butt joint there, right? And then basically when you weld on the inside, the penetration should fill that little gap all the way around, and you should have a continuous weld all the way along. I'm going to basically weld it on the inside, tack it, weld it on the inside. I might tack it on the outside first so I can see what I'm doing, and once it's all bent into shape, then I'll weld all the way around the inside. But yeah, I'm going to start off by just doing a fair few tacks all the way along, making sure I spread the load of the welds so I don't end up warping the panel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't go from here to here, then back there. I want to tack it in this motion all the way around so the metal can stretch and shrink where it wants to. So let's do that.
Now, the more time you spend rolling that top of the tub to match the same radius as your upright is the easier it's going to be to tack it all together. The more time you spend on doing all of this sort of stuff is usually the better outcome, but I don't have a roller and I'm bending that panel over my knee, and it's only so much bending you can do without going too far. So in future, I would like a roller, but yes, at this time and present, I do not actually have one, so yeah, I'll just use my knee for now. But yeah, I'm also not tacking with my helmet, and yeah, sorry about that, it's just gonna happen. And now we finally have something that resembles a wheel tub. Now, I always use 1.2 steel now. I don't use 0.9 or 1 mil, whatever you want to call it. I use 1.2. It's stronger, it's more forgiving, it's easier to weld to, and to be honest, it's not that much different to work with. So a little bit thicker, costs exactly the same, so yeah. Also, apologies for the grinding noise in the background. We are very busy here at Cresswell's, so yeah.
That is one tub nearly in. So what I need to do now is basically spend hours and hours, not hours and hours, but a long time carefully trimming all these edges so it can basically, this is really long at the minute, so I'm basically going to trim it by pushing it in and just getting it tight into all these little gaps, because eventually that will then just push in and then we can have a nice solid base to weld to. The current, this panel here should be about here. So we've got quite a way to go in because obviously you can't even see the strut tower. There's a gap underneath here, so yeah, hours of just trimming it and getting it to suit as close as I can. So maybe I'll film a little bit of that, but yeah, in the grand scheme of things, this is going to take a while. And after all that's done, cut a big hole in it to make it fit. Mental.
One thing to note here is that we have the workshop door open. It was actually more than -7 degrees today, so I actually had to take my heated jacket off that I'm wearing currently because it ended up being too hot. But you'll see here, tub goes in, tub comes out, tub goes in, tub comes out. Mark it with a marker pen, take it out, grind it, put it back in. It's a constant process, in, out, in, out, in, out. It's a process that you have to do if you want a good finished result. If the wing was able to be removed, that would be so much better, but obviously it's all welded on. I know we are replacing it, but we're not replacing the whole thing. I'll take some sections out of it and replace it in the little pieces to make it a little bit easier, but yeah, this was fun.
And then after many hours, I say many hours, it actually took ages to get this to sit right and get level, because you know, you gotta make sure it's level that way, make sure it's not twisted, and there's lots of contours to follow. So we got a nice gap to weld all the way along. It overlaps the edge of the top of the arch, so we can put a little piece in here and make that into one piece, and it will just look quite neat. Nice gap all the way along, and it goes all the way down. Same again this side, and we have a tub that fits the Ami. The Ami? The Fiat. Don't worry about this gap. Obviously, we've got to cut the strut out where this little hole is here, and that sits about there. So the strut's got to be cut out of that yet. So yeah, we've still got some time to cut that out. Sits nice down there. Obviously, I've opened the front panel up. That's why you can see the gap underneath. We'll close it up, but yeah, really happy with that. That's taken quite some time, and it's obviously not finished. It's not welded in because we can't weld it in yet, but it took a lot of time to get to this point. It also took a lot of time to do this one as well. It's still not finished. It's still got to go in about 10 mil. Yeah, this one is where it's going to sit finally. But yeah, you can see this one's still a little bit too wide, and you've got to take a couple of mil off at a time to get it all in. So yeah, that is well, 2 tubs, some would say, to go in. Nice area to weld. All this will get cut out and joined up. This plane here is the same plane as this panel here, so it should look dead flat on the inside, even though there's going to be a strut out there. But yeah, it's a shame that we're going to cut massive holes in this. That's going to be really, really tricky. Unfortunately, I can't do that in this video, but it's going to be really tricky to get that, you know, strut tower cut into this area here. We've got to finish it off around here, finish this off. Yeah, it's going to be quite tricky. But yeah, happy with how it's coming out. And it's taken a lot to get to this point, and it doesn't look like a lot, but I think it looks cool. What do you reckon? I think it looks pretty decent. I think what we're going to do in the next video is obviously do the strut towers and have these welded in, but for now, I can't say that for definite because we're waiting for the repair panel, which we've found a new old stock front arch to go in here. So we're going to use some pieces off of that, weld this arch in, and then repair this arch as well. The bottom section of this arch is also very rotten, which I think I have spoken about, but yeah, lots of repairs to do. This is cool. This is going to look so cool once it's done. And it doesn't look too aggressive when you stand here. You know, it's quite subtle. Hell yeah. I'm going to take a thumbnail pic right now. But yeah, that is a week into this. I mean, I've been doing other things on the side as well, but mainly on this, a lot of procrastination and looking at it and thinking, what's the best possible solution? And this is where we're at. Looks pretty cool. I didn't tell you, but I am going to put 1 bead roll in it. I'm going to get the die that looks closest to this bead roll. And where this swage line is, right here, you can't see that. Where that swage line is, or the 2 panels meet together, I'm going to do 1 continuous line all the way along, all the way down. And that is going to be the 1 bead roll we have in the top of these tubs. That is it. I'm not going to put anything in here because, well, a lot of the strut tower is going to be there, so you're not going to see it. So yeah, there's also, when the strut tower is here, that bead roll should be the only thing we can sort of do. I could potentially do something here, but I don't think I'm going to bother because I think if I do too much, it will take too much away from it, and I just want it to look OEM, if you will. Also, if I mess it up, that's a lot of hours to just throw in the bin. So 1 continuous line will do. I would finish getting this tub done now, but as you can see, it's pitch black outside. It is first in the evening, and this video goes up in less than 24 hours, and I've got to start editing it. Yeah, at the minute, we've got a skyline in the workshop, getting full inner and outer seals, subframe mounts, pockets, rear arches, everything. And there's also a lot of other little things that I'm doing on the side of many, many things. As you know, I like to juggle a lot of stuff at once. But yeah, this is like, hopefully a longer video. I don't know, I haven't edited it yet, but I said in the last video that I was going to start doing 1 a week and hopefully putting a lot more effort into that 1 video, and it'd be longer, so hopefully it's a little bit better for the viewer at home, because I felt like I was rushing a bunch of videos. I had a lot of people say, it's fine, do what you want, do what you need to do, you'll still watch regardless of what I put out. So thank you to all of those people that did do that. But yeah, hopefully we can get some more progress done on this little Fiat next week, because I'm starting to like it now and I think it's coming along pretty well. So yeah, I'm gonna go home because it's getting late. And also, I've got a new light, which is like having a portable sun in the workshop. But yeah, thank you very much. Subscribe. See you later. Goodbye.
Uneasy steps, deep in it like needle and flesh. In the center, couldn't see the